the Unabomber version of the Dolphins podcast.
Forget episode number 180. It's episode Unabomber. Hi, everyone. We kid I was doing this because Omar's winning a hoodie, but I'm going to go back to my obligatory it's a Montreal Expos hat for those who don't know. Professional baseball team, Major League Baseball from 1969 through 2004 before they were unceremoniously moved to Washington to become the Washington Nationals. And no, I couldn't care less about the Washington Nationals, even though I was a huge Montreal Expos fan. As we said, welcome. It is episode 180. We're going to quickly take care of the historical look back to give it to those who like it and to not dwell for those who don't like it. Number 80, the first go around, we recognize Farrell Edmonds, who was, I think, and still is the only tight end for the Dolphins ever selected to the Pro Bowl. The second go around, we're going to go with another tight end, and the good connection to this year's team is that he played a big role in helping the Dolphins the last time they won the AFC East title, which was 2008. And I'm talking, of course, about Anthony Fasano. So hat tip to Anthony Fasano, who had 2 touchdown passes in the next to last game of the season in a 38-31 win at KC when it was absolutely freezing over there.
You know what I remember for Anthony Fasano, the Dolphins traded him in a package that included Aiken Adele, who actually still lives in South Florida. Looks like he can still play football, by the way. He's in great shape. And his first season, Fasano and David Martin and a couple of other like fringe tight ends, they set the franchise record for tight end productivity in that first season. Yards, receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns. And that was in the 2008 Dolphins era. So they were a major component of why that team advanced as deep as they did into the playoffs. So, actually, they didn't advance, but won the AFC East. Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to correct myself very, very quickly here. We haven't even done 5 minutes. I've already made a factual mistake. I'm going to double check it. Farrell Edmonds is not. Yeah, I suck. Take 2. We'll start over again. Farrell Edmonds is not the only Dolphin tight end to make the Pro Bowl because unless I'm double checking right now, Keith Jackson made the Pro Bowl as well.
Okay.
In the early 90s. Also, we cannot let, yes, he made the Pro Bowl in 1992. We cannot let this day pass without acknowledging today's date, which is December 30th, because it was on this date 23 years ago that the Dolphins last won a playoff game. The 23-17 overtime win against the Indianapolis Colts. Peyton Manning and the quote-unquote liquored up kicker, as Manning said at the Pro Bowl a few weeks later when he took some shot at Mike Vanderjag, who did miss a field goal attempt in overtime, and the Dolphins wound up winning it after trailing in the fourth quarter. Last-minute touchdown pass from Jay Fiedler to tight end Jed Weaver. There's a name from the past. And then Lamar Smith had that crazy performance, 209 yards, including the game-winning touchdown in overtime. And that, sadly, is the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game, and hopefully that streak ends this season.
What happens if it doesn't? Just
massive disappointment. I mean, talk about take a needle and stick it in the balloon. I mean, that would be such a massive bummer.
Let me ask you this question. Let's say, and I'm bringing this to you because you are and have always been responsible for my permutations of what could possibly happen in the playoffs, because I ain't doing it myself. I've never been that person who cared that much. But I am curious, what would happen if the Dolphins end up getting the number 2 seed for whatever reason? And is there a possibility that they can play Kansas City in the first round of the playoffs as a number 2 seed?
No. Well, yeah, technically, technically, maybe that entails Kansas City
flatlining,
losing their last 2 games. They have a 2-game lead with 2 games left over both the Raiders and the Broncos. If they lose their last 2 and one of those 2 teams wins their last 2, I think they could wind up getting shut out of the division title, which would put them as a wild card, maybe depending on other teams, AFC South. I haven't gone through all of that.
All the permutations.
all the permutations with Casey possibly a 7 and the Dolphins being a 2, but that's I think it would take. I think it's possible it would take a whole lot of things happening.
So technically, what are we looking at in terms of, let's just say the Dolphins are a 2, okay? Let's say they're not a 1. Let's say they're a 2. And I hope that they are a 1 because they certainly need the rest. And I'm of the opinion that they could actually beat Baltimore. And I do, as I've said to you all along this season, much to your annoyance, that Tua has it, and this is the season of Tua, and we are waiting for him to show it. Now, there's no greater time than Sunday.
Yeah, that would be that would be a very appropriate time. Yes,
I am anxiously waiting for the arrival. So hopefully that's it, and you can lock up the number 1 seed and get your MVP, and then become the highest paid player in the NFL, and then we can usher on this new era of we have the best quarterback in the game. But
man, holy moly, somebody's got.
These are my expectations.
Okay.
Well, I mean, what were we tanking for Tua for in all of 2019, if not this?
Fair.
Okay.
I mean, you were tanking for a franchise quarterback, and it would still have been worth it even if he's not the highest paid quarterback in the NFL or the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, if he becomes, and he may already be there, franchise quarterback, it worked.
Yeah.
And involving a little bit of luck, because there are other teams who could have wound up taking Tua before 5.
Absolutely. I mean, but we took a broken quarterback. Let's not act like, we got lucky. No, he was broken, which is why he got to us at 5, considering we screwed up the tank and really won too many games. So,
Yeah. Okay.
We didn't screw up the tank?
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about did he fall at 5 because he was broken strictly because of the hip, or was it because of durability issues with the hip and everything else he had before, and then some maybe not insanely 100% totally sold on him being the best quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, all of that is valid. I don't think he would have been taken ahead of Joe Burrow in that draft class. He didn't deserve to be taken ahead of Joe Burrow. And if I'm going to be totally transparent, I probably would have selected Joe Burrow over Tua if given the option and the choice. But that doesn't mean that both of those quarterbacks aren't sensational. I made my choice in that process, and I didn't want Justin Herbert because he lacked that intangible, in my opinion, or that charisma.
Because you had Ryan Tannehill flashbacks when
yes. When I tell you, I've spent my whole career loving to go to the Senior Bowl, and then I got to a point where it's just like, I don't want to go anymore. And then I was sending my colleague to the Senior Bowl at the Sun Sentinel. And then for that specific Senior Bowl where Justin Herbert was going to be there, I was like, I need to go. And only to meet and interact with Justin Herbert. And
no, you were there for Tua. And
no, Tua wasn't there.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And dude, we have the video evidence, and I hope somebody has it.
Senior Bowl?
Oh, sorry. I'm in the combine. Sorry.
No. I'm talking about Senior Bowl.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl. No. I would have flipped out if Tua was at the
you flipped out at the combine.
At the Senior
Bowl. By the way, guys, excuse me, Omar, I got to do this. Try to find online a picture of Omar looking at Tua when he's talking at the combine. I mean,
Saf sends that video out all the time.
Yeah. Find you somebody who looks at you the way Omar looked at Tua at that press conference.
It had been a long time coming, man. It had been a long time coming.
I mean, it was like,
because he's got this charisma to him. You know it. You've seen it. You've lived it.
Sure, but I mean, that's fine. There are plenty of guys at the combine who also have shown a lot of charisma, and I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen another reporter with the goo eyes you had. Actually, I have. There's a certain South Florida radio reporter during training camp media sessions who makes major goo eyes at Tua also. Oh, okay. No names. Doesn't need to be a name.
It's funny because we have these. We've had maybe one. I don't think we've ever had a private conversation together. Actually, we did. We just had one yesterday, but that was it was and I'm not even. He was stealing Duke Riley's hair product, and I was messing with him about that, which was he had to, and the hair looked like, because he's letting it grow out and he's doing his own thing, and it looks great. And he was using what's the product that she has. It's an actress. Damn, I can't remember her name, but she has her own hair product. It's Diana Ross's daughter.
Daughter.
Yeah, Diana Ross's daughter, who's an actress.
Oh, who is she? Is she a celebrity?
Yeah, she's a celebrity. People will tell me in the comments, and then
Yes,
I don't care. And bro, he's just got so much charisma to him. I won't share our conversation, but it's a charisma that just makes you wanna follow him. And I don't think he understands the appeal that he has nationally, if not worldwide. But it's part of the reason why he'll be making his first Pro Bowl, and he will be he'll probably be the leading vote getter for Pro Bowl. And next week Pro Bowl comes out, right?
You know what? They've never actually released a date for when they're going to announce the teams. The fan voting ended on Christmas. The player and coaches, I think, were voting. Maybe
got to be last week.
By the way, Tracy Ellis Ross is the name.
Tracy Ellis Ross's product, which is
never heard of Tracy Ellis Ross. No offense.
Oh, are you kidding me? Gorgeous woman. And let me find out what her product's name is, because Tua was using it.
Do it fast, because we're digressing with the story. Anyway, the bottom line is Omar loves Tua.
Yes, Omar does love Tua, but most people, except for Tuanon, already know that. To Tuanon, I hate Tua, because nobody can ever say anything.
Because you can never love Tua enough for Tua.
Yeah, nobody can ever say anything bad about Tua.
By the way, I see the questions already about Jalen Ramsey. No, we do not have an update. No, we will not have an update probably until. Well, you giving me the side-eyed look.
He's all right. He's fine. He's good to go.
Okay, Omar has decreed he's fine. He's good to go. Are you reporting that, or you're just spitballing that?
I'm reporting. It's not as serious as it's. Or at least I'm told it's not as serious as the panic is letting out.
Well, the panic is you just don't know. And it happens 2 days before the game. So usually what happens is the Dolphins are going to fly out to Baltimore sometime this afternoon. And if there's a player who does not make the trip, will be downgraded to out, we'll get a press release from the Dolphins. We're hoping not to get that press release. And then also
we will get the practice squad elevations. And I think the practice squad elevations will include this week. My predictions are Matt Skura and Ethan Bonner, who will use up his last practice squad elevation.
Okay, and by the way, since we mentioned practice squad elevations, a quick note here. Unlike the number of IR designations that you have, which is 8, which does not change or increase in the playoffs, the practice squad elevations reset in the playoffs. You still can't elevate more than 2 players per game. But even if Ethan Bonner, for example, gets elevated this week and next week, he'd still be okay to be elevated. Sorry?
He can't be elevated next week.
What, today would be 3?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so he reaches 3. The playoffs start. His clock resets. He's fine. He can be elevated any game in the playoffs. What else can we say about this game that we haven't already said?
I wrote a column.
Okay, go ahead.
I wrote a column this morning, which you can find on alldolphins.com, as you know, where you can find all your work for free, no paywall, no subscriptions. You click it, you read it. And Poupart's got a number of stories up. But this morning's column is just more of a reinforcement of why I believe that this team is special. The column is called, what did I call the column, or what did you call the column, Poupart?
Ready for biggest step in quote unquote right direction.
Yeah. And it's basically, I've always used the Baltimore Ravens as the litmus test for the Miami Dolphins, just because of how they play and the physical nature of their team and their style. Let me share with you one of my favorite story about John Harbaugh, the coach of the Baltimore Ravens. This was an owners meeting in Palm Beach. It was his first owners meetings there. And at that time, they had some local radio stations that were there that were doing live shows. Okay. And John Harbaugh had apparently gone on a local radio station that was there in the morning, and or had done an interview previously before going to some meetings. And the radio host that was there had apparently talked some shit about him once he had gotten off the air. Harbaugh had gotten word of this. And when he came out of the meetings, the specific meetings, I was sitting there with, you know, how you wait around and you lurk around the lobbies and stuff like that. I was sitting there. The guy was on air. He went up to the guy and reamed him out in his face about horse shit that you said about me after I came and I graced your program. And he's like, that's not how we're going to operate here. And if that's the case, you will never speak to me ever again. And just absolutely gave this guy the business. And at that point, he hadn't coached a single NFL game. But the in-your-face nature of that exchange, to me, will always stand out. I will always remember it. And it matches the in-your-face, Debo-esque style play that the Ravens have had and utilized throughout his entire tenure. You know it. Yes, sir. Yes.
No, I interject here and point out, for those not familiar, Debo is a character in the movie Friday, like a really big menacing dude, not Debo Samuel. Just want to make that clear.
Yes. I wonder if Debo Samuel is named after Debo.
Interesting question.
Yes.
How old's the movie Friday?
Oh, it's older than Debo
Samuel.
Samuel.
Yeah, it's like in 993 or something, right?
Yeah. It's I don't even know how old it is, but Debo Samuel's, trust me, it's older than Debo Samuel's. And if you haven't watched the movie Friday or the Friday series, you should. It's a cult classic. But Debo is the big bully character who basically, what bike, who basically steals people's stuff and just bullies everybody. And that's the way the Ravens have played. Now, to Miami's credit, they've beaten them 2 straight times with Tua Tagovailoa as the quarterback, not necessarily getting the ledger win because he didn't start one of those starts, as Poupard likes to infamously bring up when he's rubbing it in my face that QB record isn't a stat or should be a stat. But the
defense won the Thursday night game. Come, please. Okay, go.
He still won the game, but it didn't.
The defense won the Thursday night game. Please stop. He came into the game with a lead. The defense won the Thursday night game. Point blank, stop, period. Go ahead.
Okay. And last year's game where he pulled off.
Obviously. I mean, seriously.
Okay.
Oh, but by the way, in that game also, let's not forget the fact,
I don't even remember the game. You're the one that keeps bringing it up all week.
You're the one who just brought up the last 2 games against Baltimore, including Tua's win in 2021 that they stole from him because Jacoby Brissett actually was a starter. So, come on, be consistent. The thing about that 42-38 games, Tua was brilliant, Tyreek was brilliant, Jalen Waddle was brilliant, Lamar Jackson also was brilliant. The Dolphins had no answer for him. But the Dolphins are much better defensively, just like the Ravens are better defensively than they were last year. So are the Dolphins. And I don't expect Lamar Jackson to go off the way he did in that game. That, like, if it's 42-38 like it was last year, I would be flabbergasted. To me, it's a game in the 20s.
Two tremendous defenses. Number one, Baltimore has the number 1 defense in the league.
Yes, but here's the thing. And I wrote, by the way, and you mentioned the content on alldolphins.com for free, no paywall, no subscription. I did my game preview, which includes scenarios where the Dolphins win, scenarios where the Dolphins lose, and a score prediction, which I'm not going to reveal on here. You have to go look at the story. But one of the points I make where you could have some optimism, the Dolphins could have success offensively, is that Baltimore, yes, does lead the NFL in yards allowed per game. However, in 2 of the last 3 games, they've given up more than 400 yards. On Monday night, Frisco moved the ball against them. They won the game because they got 5 takeaways. And in the game against the Rams a couple of weeks ago, this may have been when the Dolphins were playing, I guess, on Monday night, because I watched most of that game. The Rams were moving the ball on the Ravens defense. And the Ravens wound up winning on a punt return in overtime. but it wasn't, again, like they were stifling that Rams offense. So that gives me confidence that the Dolphins can have some success moving the ball.
I think the Dolphins have shown that they could have success moving the ball against any team and any defense. Now, they're not going to necessarily be at full strength this week because they don't have Jalen Waddle, but that's not an excuse considering the last time they played without Jalen Waddle, they put up 70 points.
And the Broncos, though.
You act like the Broncos are some slouch.
The Broncos sucked when the Dolphins played them. At that time, they were a horrible team.
What do I say to you all season? Anybody can get it.
I understand that. If you are going to tell me that nailing 70 on the Broncos in week 3, the way that they were, it would be the same thing as nailing 70 on.
I didn't say the Dolphins were going to nail 70 on.
I know that, but you're deflecting my point or rejecting my point that the Broncos were a complete mess. Yeah, and yes, the Dolphins were absolutely fabulous on offense, executing perfectly that day. But they also playing a defense that was offering this much resistance. I mean, it was embarrassing because
they didn't want it. They absolutely didn't want it.
They were like, "Can we get out of here already?" This is, I mean, you should have seen the comments from.
I'm not going to deny that they didn't want it. But I also must point out that the Dolphins can't play that style right now. That O-line was mauling people in that game. Like
they were spacing people out. Yes, absolutely. More so than mauling. And they were getting to the second level.
And mauling people at the second level. Oh, come on.
It was about spacing. It was about spacing and misdirecting. What? Go watch the replay.
I did watch the replay.
Okay, and those long runs are not because they're bowling them over straight ahead the line of scrimmage.
There were plays where Connor Williams and Teron Armstead were 20 yards downfield, mowing down defenders.
Yeah, once you get ahead of steam, you're still missing the point that the room was created with spacing, misdirection, speed outside.
Okay. Yeah, and it is every week. What's your point?
My point is get off this thing of they were mauling them.
They were mauling them. They were 20.
They weren't, but okay, and we can agree to disagree.
Okay, on those pitch plays.
Yes.
To Achane, the Tua and his right-handed pitches. You're telling me the O-line wasn't mauling people?
The one pitch was like at the 5-yard line.
Okay.
And again, Omar, look at the replays and look at the amounts of spacing that's was created by the motion and the misdirection.
And every play is that way.
Oh my God,
it's built that way.
Omar, and that's precisely my point. That's not mauling. That's deceiving.
We have two different definitions.
Why is that so difficult to understand?
I don't know. I don't know why it's so difficult.
By the way,
to understand they're not a finesse team just because they use motion and deception and they're not a finesse team. They're not.
They're more finesse than power. And by the way, for those who are commenting that I'm not giving credit for the O-line because I'm making the point that the quick passing game helps. I am not discrediting the O-line. I'm just saying that's a factor. And Omar keeps going like this.
You are discrediting the O-line.
I am not.
Even Louis Riddick tweeted out that.
No wonder you like him. Come on.
Listen.
By the way, I said, with all due respect to Louis Riddick, I said what I said, and I'm not discrediting the O-line. I am just saying that the offense, the way it's constructed, and the way that they operate, getting the ball out quickly, a lot of short throws, makes it easier on the offensive line. And if the offensive line is asked to protect a 7-step drop where you're going to be chucking it or pure power run straight ahead. I don't know why that's so difficult. My point's so difficult to understand, or why everybody gets all up in arms and goes like this and goes full Unabomber mode, like I'm insulting somebody. Okay, can we attack some fan questions?
You are insulting. You're insulting this phenomenal offensive line. It's harder for me to put my Unabomber hoodie up because I got a lot of hair.
Oh, and I got a hat on, so there you go.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's hit some questions.
There we go. Lionel, thank you very much for the contribution, partner. Happy New Year's, guys. I hope your year is blessed and fruitful. See, now you're giving me your call. With the success we have had this year, which coaches do you see being poached after we win the Super Bowl, speaking it into existence, like Tyreek?
I think Vic Fangio is at the point where nobody wants to touch him anymore because he's a grumpy old curmudgeon.
A bad thing. How dare you?
Yeah. Which is a good thing for Miami. Like, he'll be here for a while. I do believe. I mean, you can't produce a top 5 defense in the NFL in one season, and nobody wants to take a look at you. So, I do hope that somebody takes a look and really interviews him, because I don't think he feels like he got a fair shake in Denver. He I once asked him the question of, what did you learn from your tenure in Denver? And his response was, yeah, don't be a head coach during a pandemic. And I was just like, noted. Yeah, absolutely noted.
Well, he did have a game where he had to start, like, what was it, a practice squad wide receiver, because all his quarterbacks were sick. That's rough.
Yeah. I definitely think he is worthy and deserving of another opportunity. If Dan Quinn can get one, why shouldn't Vic Fangio? Dan Quinn, people have lined up to try to hire Dan Quinn for the last 2 years, and hey, he's decided that he's going to stay in Dallas. And you should at least get an interview if you're Vic Fangio. Your underlings have gone on and become big name head coaches, primarily because they kind of sell themselves a little bit better than you. And trust me, Vic doesn't sell himself well, but the question is, can he coach?
That's part of the game. That's part of the game.
You're right. That is part of the game.
I haven't heard his name or read his name mentioned.
It should be.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I just haven't heard. And the one name you keep hearing is Frank Smith, who was mentioned in relation to the opening in Carolina, with the Chargers.
Yeah, nearly was in tears when we asked him about it.
With the Raiders, yeah, he got very emotional. That was interesting. I think Anthony Campanelli is a guy who's also mentioned as a future potential head coach. I don't think that's not happening quite yet.
Ass whoop is an international language, brother.
There you go. All over the world, they speak ass whooping.
All over the world.
Still my favorite line of Hard Knocks. And like I said at the time, I'm not sure it's going to be topped. I mean, that was pure gold. So to me, those would be the names. You're going to hear Frank Smith. Vic Fangio is absolutely deserving. I don't think he's going to get interviews.
Since we're talking about this, and it is our podcast, and we can talk about whatever we like. I watched an NFL Films kind of snippet about the Pirate, Texas Tech. Why does that name escape me right now?
Mike Leach. What are you talking about?
Mike Leach. Yes, Mike Leach. And how his offense was so innovative, and everybody was stealing from it and moving it to the college ranks. I mean, to the NFL ranks. And then obviously it was filtering into the college game as well. And it literally just hit me like, bro, Wes Welker is a byproduct of Mike Leach and a disciple of Mike Leach. And a lot of the foundations and elements of this passing game is Mike Leach. And Mike McDaniel was part of the package. Wes Welker was discussed and mentioned in the package. And I was just like, wow, Wes Welker might be quickly rising up the ranks to become a head coach. And the avenue to head coach is through offensive coordinator, and that might be his next stop. So I don't know how long he's going to be here with Miami, because he's got definitely on a tremendous path.
No, it's a very good point you make. I don't think he's been a coach very long. That would be the one thing.
I remember when Adam Gase wanted to hire him on his staff. Like people have known that Wes was going to be in coaching for a very long time.
Whoa, actually, really? Wow.
What?
I take it back. He's been an assistant coach in the NFL since 2017. I did not know that.
Yeah, Adam Gase wanted to hire him when he retired, and he just wasn't ready, or didn't want to do it, or maybe didn't want to work for Gase. And then he went to, where did he go? Was it always San Fran?
Houston, then San Fran, then Dolphins.
Houston, then San Fran, then Dolphins.
But yeah, no, you're right though. That's a name to. Again, he's not somebody whose name I've seen anywhere. It's been. And another name that I've seen is Austin Clark, actually, the defensive line coach. As somebody like the national outlets do their young assistant coaches, usually they do it under 40, who could be on a track to becoming head coaches at some point, and Austin Clark, the defensive line coach, was that he's
Oh,
not.
absolutely. When your unit has got 52 sacks, has already set a franchise record. Not his unit, but it isn't actually his unit.
That's part of it. Well, and then obviously he's dealing with some talented players, but I don't know how much more you could get out of Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer than what you've gotten, because those guys have been studs. And by the way, since the Dolphins are playing the Ravens, thank you, Ravens, for waiving Zach Sealer in 2019, and kudos for Chris Greer claiming him.
Do you remember when he came here and was part of that? The everybody we claim we're starting, and he started and he actually helped them win the game against, I believe it was the Bengals or something like that.
Was it the 19-7 game where Tua threw a bomb to Jakeem Grant right in his hands and he blobbed up?
Welcome to Jakeem Grant's career.
And that was the year. Yeah, you're absolutely. I mean, they were just, my Lord, were they churning that roster, and then guys would get opportunities.
And it's funny because I was so insulted by Brian Flores when we did that I Am Athlete interview with him, which I didn't want to participate in, by the way. I was kind of forced to, because I knew he was a phony fraud, and I didn't like him. But literally, he's like, "Oh, I wasn't tanking. And I'm like, bro, you were claiming guys on Tuesday and starting them on Sunday. What the hell did you think you were doing? And
that was Greer who was doing that. That was the organization.
I don't give a damn. He decide who plays. Like, you were claiming guys on Tuesday, starting them on Sunday. What do you think you're doing? Like, basically, he was kind of saying, "Oh, well, they were sabotaging me, but I was still trying to win games." It's like, what sense does it make?
Do you doubt that, though?
No, I don't. I don't doubt that, knowing who he is.
Correct.
But, bro, when you got hired, you knew what time it was.
Well, you see, and that's the thing. I'm not sure. And again, this is delicate because it could backfire if you're interviewing a coach and telling him, by the way, our plan is we're going to tank this year to try to get the number 1 pick. So welcome aboard.
But if you're only going to trade away your best players and then get signed players and force you to start them, like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, but that's the thing, though, is because on the one hand you're thinking, okay, why didn't they make sure he was on board with that? But the problem is, if you put that out there in the job interview and the guy doesn't take the job and the guy decides to spill his guts at somebody else, you in trouble.
You are in trouble, but you're already in trouble. You already got punished. Like, come on, man. Man.
Because they took it a step further there with the allegation.
The only thing that I support Brian Flores on the no tank special is benching Josh Rosen and not starting Josh Rosen. And I know the only reason he had to do that was because nobody on his team would have liked him or respected him, and everybody would have quit because they would have known that, okay, you're in on the tank too.
Okay, but then my question is, my counterpoint to that is, because I thought it was a horrible move. And again, and I said, as I've said,
Rosen?
Yes, because you could justify playing him because, hey, we gave up a second and a fifth for him. He
was garbage.
Omar, can I finish my point, please?
Yes.
My point is that let's give him the entire season to prove to us that he's not the guy. And then if you're talking about losing the locker room, sure. But how many of those guys in 2019 did you honestly feel were going to be there for the long haul?
Zach Sealer.
Well, how many are left? Gink, Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, Durham Smythe, Jason Sanders, who would over
Howard,
and then
Zach Sealer.
You know, maybe you sit those guys down and explain to them what's going on, and maybe they get it. So anyway, let's move on to our next one. Fins RK009. Thank you very much for the contribution. Can Achane play in the slot, i.e. Waddle's role? That's a big no for me.
Waddle does not play slot. So
he does sometimes. He does sometimes line up in the slot. Not a ton, but he's done it.
All of them move around, yes, but Waddle is generally to the left of Tua Tagovailoa, and he sparingly moves. And he has moved. When they didn't have Tariq, they put him in the motion, and they made him the motion, and it worked. Achane can do a lot of things. I don't necessarily think that he's got the greatest, most phenomenal hands. And I'm really not into throwing to a playmaker and having him run receiver routes unless he's got great hands. That's why you have receivers. There are tons of receivers on this team that can fill in for Jalen Waddle. Do I think that Achane's package will be increased? Yes. Me personally, I think that I think this Dolphins team has a package of 10 plays for every player. Let's just say, okay? They've got a Robbie Chosen package. They've got a Craycraft package. They've got a Braxton Berrios package. What'd you say?
Shocking that you led with Chosen. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I led with Chosen. I purposely led with Chosen. Let me ask you this question, and you know I'm a conspiracy theorist. Have the Dolphins ever rushed a player back from concussions this season?
No.
Okay. So how did Robbie Chosen just magically?
Because not all concussions are the same. That's
okay. All right. That's fair.
I mean,
that's fair. But just so Coinky Dink, he's your only spacer on your 53-man roster left, right?
What? No. If you're going where I think you're going with that, sorry, I can't play along. If you're, first of all, it's a nasty suggestion to put out there that they're playing Robbie Chosen, even though he probably shouldn't play.
No. I'm just saying they're extra cautious in every area when it comes to concussions. This one, they're just like, all right, he's clear. All right, let's play him.
I don't think especially with the focus that would be on them.
Yeah.
If they rush Robbie Chosen back and knock on wood and something bad were to happen, you actually think the Dolphins would put themselves in that kind of situation unless they were told very clearly by the docs, he's fine, he's good to go?
I am saying they haven't played a single game this season where a player comes back from a concussion the very next week, and now we've actually done it. Okay, and
it's happened around the league. It's not like they're the first team to have that.
Yeah, it's happened around the league, but it hasn't happened here until now.
Okay, I'm sorry, I refuse to go where you're going. So I'm gonna tackle Michael's question over here. Thank you, Michael. Can the Finns still get the number 1 seed if they win against Baltimore, sit players lose versus Buffalo, and the Ravens go 1-1? Do Finns have that tiebreaker? No, they wouldn't be in that tiebreaker. If the Ravens go 1-1, that means they win at Pittsburgh, which means they would finish 13-4. Dolphins would finish 12-5 if they lose against Buffalo. And not spoiler alert, but let me spare you the suspense. Dolphins aren't sitting players against Buffalo if they win against Baltimore. You agree?
I don't know, but I don't think that if they win against Baltimore, they're definitely playing for that number 1 seed. And
correct, which they get if they win to beat Buffalo.
Does that mean they might sit a specific player or not? Yeah, I think they could continue to sit Rob Hunt. Like it's like a fine dance.
But you're sitting him because he's not ready. You're not sitting him because we have our AFC's title clinched, so let's not worry about the number 1 seed.
Yeah, no. The Dolphins have been going for the number 1 seed since the midseason point.
As any team in the history of the NFL should, especially now that there's only one bye. And here's our thing, Michael. For the Dolphins to get the number 1 seed with a win against Baltimore and a loss to Buffalo, they need both the Ravens to lose in Week 18 and the Cleveland Browns to lose in Week 18 at Cincinnati. So that's that scenario there. Hey, who do we have?
Whatever Poupart says.
What he said. SM Finns, I think Tua may be the type.
I really don't even get into those permutations of all that stuff. I swear to you, I used to just read your stuff and paraphrase it because I really just didn't care. Like,
there's some stuff that gets complicated, and
yeah, it's I don't have the brain or the patience to do all that permutation stuff. Like, no thanks.
Okay, well, this one you can.
If this happens, then that happens. Then this happens, then that happens. I know you do. It's wired into your DNA. I'm like I would rather slit my wrist. Like if this happens, then that happens in this factor. And here's the 3 tiebreakers that'll impact this decision, and this decision has 4 tiebreakers. And if these 3 teams, are you kidding me? Just like stab me right now. Just kill me.
I am what I am. What can I tell you? This is
Mhm.
a very easy question to answer from SM Fins. Thanks for the contribution. I think Tua may be the type to take a smaller contract to make sure the team he has a team he needs to succeed. Thoughts? These are my thoughts personally.
No. Understand that when you're at Tua's level and every level of the quarterback, your job and responsibility is to take the position to a new height for the quarterbacks that come after them. Remember when Dak Prescott had the highest paid contract in the NFL and everybody's like, "Oh, that's some crazy money for Dak Prescott." And then 4 years later, he's like the 12th highest paid quarterback. That's how the cycle works. And while we might be looking at this and saying, "Man, that $50 million a year contract for Tua is crazy." 3 years from now, we'll be saying, "Man, Tua's one of the cheapest quarterbacks in the NFL." And that's just how the cycle works. So every player has to push their position, especially when you're one of the NFL's elites.
And it's a nice thought, but
Yeah. Do I think that there are ways that you can work around it? Yes. You can give Tua a $500 million contract like Patrick Mahomes got and make and help it become team friendly. You can give him $100 million signing bonus and really, really, really stretch out or lower that cap number. Steve Ross has the means. That's why he's bringing on an investor. Steve Ross knows he's going to have to write some big fat checks this offseason, and he'll be prepared to do so, which is why I think we see this investor coming on.
Yep.
Steve Ross just wants to win, and all he cares about is winning. He wants that worse than you think you want it as a Dolphin fan. Trust me, he wants it. He wants it 5 times as bad as you want it.
Yep. Say whatever you want to say about him as an owner. Don't ever for 1 millisecond suggest he's not willing to do what is financially necessary to try to bring a Super Bowl to Miami.
He's I'm sure he's already said, "What do we need to do to run this back? Let's figure this out right now." Go ahead.
Ohio John, thanks for the contribution. Who has the toughest matchup in the trenches on each side of the ball? Omar, you can take the offensive line. The Dolphin offensive line, I'll take the other side because
toughest matchup.
We love the big uglies.
Toughest matchup in the trenches. I'm not a tremendous fan of Van Noy, as everybody knows, or Van Nott. And Clowney is a respectable player, but I don't think he's that dude. I would have to say it'd probably be Robert Jones with Justin Madubuike. I don't know how to say his name. Madubuike?
Madubuike.
Say it again. Tell me. Okay. All right. Look at you. But to me, that's not even the toughest matchup of the day. I think that these linebackers, these Ravens linebackers, they're not healthy, but they're physical freaks and man eaters. And I think Raheem Mostert has the toughest battle of the day, going all game with Roquan Smith.
And they send Queen a bit. They send Queen more than Roquan Smith based on my several viewings of Ravens games this year. On the other side, this is a Dolphin defensive line against the Ravens offensive line. The Ravens offensive line is dealing with a ton of injuries. They actually rotate their offensive linemen, as my good buddy Todd Karpovich told us on the Behind Enemy Lines podcast we did on Tuesday, which I certainly encourage you to check out, which would have been episode 176, I want to say.
We will tweet it out after this show is over. If you always got to watch Behind Enemy Lines, because it always gives you some insight onto the team and the opponent that you're about to face that you generally won't get.
So for toughest matchup, I mean, Ronnie Stanley is the most pedigreed guy because he was a 6th overall pick in the 2016 draft, but guy's never been the same. He's just got this injury after injury after injury for him. And in fact, they rotate him at left tackle as well. Their interior is solid. I don't know that but again, we Dolphins have Sealer and Wilkins. I think we're okay in that matchup.
Isn't Lindstrom injured? Linderbaum.
He wasn't on the injury report.
Mm-hmm.
On the injury report. Then I guess I could go on the right side. Van Ginkel's got a decent matchup.
I think Kevin Zeitler's injured too.
Yes, Kevin Zeitler's on the injury report. He's listed as questionable. But to me, if we're going to go the toughest matchup, probably be Gink against Morgan Moses at right tackle. Who's a solid player, but those guys and the interior guys again, they're big and physical. John Simpson at guard is like a mauler. Seidler is a guy who's been around, is a very good player. The center Lindenbaum, first round pick from Iowa, is a good player. But again, yeah, it's a tough matchup for Wilkins and Sealer, but those guys have been dudes the entire year. So to me, the matchup to watch there would be Van Ginkel against Morgan Moses.
Who I've always said the Dolphins should have drafted.
Who would they take instead?
Juwan James.
Oh, was it that year?
Mm-hmm. Let's go with Michael McIntyre.
We already
question. My bad.
We'll just acknowledge Ryan Brady here. Thank you very much for the contribution. Noel, our friend Noel. His Fangio plays in cryogenic freeze during Hard Knocks filming. That's fine. Yeah, I want to see more. I want more FaceTime for Fangio.
I do too. I want to personally request that the Hard Knocks crew do a profile on Vic Fangio. I know he's going to resist it, but hey, I want to see how he interacts with his teammates. I want him mic'd up for a practice. I want to hear what he says. Like, I want his room mic'd up. I want to see him present to the team. Like, Vic Fangio's a ghost on Hard Knocks. And, I know it's intentionally done, but
yeah,
like, I would like to see the old curmudgeon. I would. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it may have been in his contract. I have veto power for any kind of NFL films production. Who knows? One
thing that Fangio has made very clear is that he's not going to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Still love him. Love the dude.
I know, because you're like twins.
Okay. I don't know how to respond to that. Jason Taylor, JT, the great JT with us. How are you, JT? Defensive line coach for UM. So I'm guessing it's not the real JT, considering it was in New York yesterday as UM dropped another bowl game. But these bowl games, it's like, unless it's a college playoffs,
I don't care.
Half the teams are missing. Who cares?
I don't care. Like, come on. UM hasn't won a bowl game since what? The Boise Bowl?
I know.
I've covered that.
Since Larry Coker was the coach or something.
Yeah. I covered that Boise Bowl. Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on.
Okay, Jason, thanks for the contribution. Love the show, guys. With the upcoming apocalypse, rank your priorities in terms of re-signing Gink, Wilkins, Tua, Connor, Hunt, etc. Also, who is a potential cap casualty other than Agba?
Let's start with the easy ones. Agba, clearly going to be cut. Jerome Baker is going to be cut or shaken down. X is a very tough situation because X definitely needs his guaranteed money. X don't work without guaranteed money, as X has shown you over and over and over again in throughout his career. That's probably going to be a situation where you're going to try to trade him. He's not going to allow you to trade him. And you're going to have to rework that deal somehow, some way, because if you want to maintain having this elite pass rush and two dominant cornerbacks, X is kind of an important ingredient to that. Unless
Vic Fangio suddenly discovers feelings for Cam Smith.
That ain't happening.
This year, but maybe.
No, that ain't happening.
Wow.
And no, it's not happening. I've heard reviews. It's not happening. In terms of the decisions to make, you can hit Wilkins with the franchise tag. Wilkins will not settle for a penny less than Quentin Williams got. So you're going to have to break the piggy bank open and pay him. That's about $100 to $110 million. But you're going to franchise tag to buy yourself some time. You're going to ride out Tua on the 5th-year option and probably do his deal before the season starts, just like Joe Burrow, because signing him to anything longer right now would create some cap tension, as opposed to create some cap tension.
His cap number for next year is $23 million.
Yeah, exactly.
They
and
can
if you
lower
did a multi-year deal, it'd be
They
if
can
you did
structure it in a way that where the first year cap hit wouldn't be as egregious as $23 million.
I don't know if that could be done, brother. It depends on the structure of the contract.
Well, it's
Connor Williams.
where Brandon Shore is going to earn his money.
Yeah, Connor Williams. I'm sorry, he's probably gonna get a $4 million contract. 5. I'm sure people will be insulted, but he's gonna be not fully healthy until like October. Well, yeah, who's out there going to give him break the bank, piggy bank for Connor Williams, even though he's a dynamic player. You just signed Austin Jackson and then Robert Hunt and Isaiah Wynn, depending on what you want to do there. Those are your other options, and then there's Gink. I think if of all the players, Gink is going to be the guy who goes elsewhere and signs for the biggest bag. You're shaking your head no.
I don't think I am of the opinion that Gink's gonna go nowhere. Yeah. And if the question is priorities, well, I will eliminate because the question is phrased as re-signing. Tua's already under contract for next year, so I would remove him from that list.
No, okay, I forgot where you stand.
No,
carry on,
Omar.
Yes.
That's not the issue. The question is re-signing. He's already under contract. If the question is what's the priority in terms of doing deals, then that's a different story. The question in terms of re-signing, God, that's an annoying face you make right now. Wilkins to me is clearly the most foundational piece among the other 5 guys. The other 4 guys, all due respect to everybody else. And then the other 3, I mean, yeah, I don't know. The other 3 you could put in a bowl and flip them up, and they're all important.
You also missed Raekwon Davis. You're going to have to restructure Jalen Ramsey. You're probably going to have to restructure Sealer's contract. You're going to have to probably redo Tyreek's deal. Javon Holland is making pennies compared to what his market value is. So he's going to have to be addressed. Let me tell you, even though it's benefited you that he hasn't played this season, because if you would have put up some more ridiculous stats, he would have been way more expensive. But Javon Holland is on the books to make $1.85 million next year, which is absolutely insulting. But that's just the nature of, and he's not even eligible for playing time escalators because he's a 2nd-round pick, and 2nd-round picks do not get playing time escalators, which is an absolute crying shame, explains why in Durham Smythe and Mike Gesicki's final season on their rookie deals, Durham Smythe made twice as much as Mike Gesicki, even though he was drafted in the 4th round. Did you know that?
Yeah, except that Gesicki had gotten over him because of the signing bonus he got as a rookie.
Yeah. No, because of the signing bonus, but as long as only people not eligible for playing time escalators is 1st and 2nd round picks. Everybody else is eligible, and Durham Smythe, because he played more than Mike Gesicki, he banked off his playing time escalators.
By the way, the projected franchise tag, according to the good folks at Over the Cap for defensive tackles for 2024, is $19.7 million.
That is correct.
And that's smack dab against the cap, where it would be more beneficial for the Dolphins to sign Christian to a long-term contract.
Absolutely. Now, is Christian going to be friendly to sign to a long-term contract? Now you're going to have to pay him. Now you're going to have to make him the highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL. You are.
I don't think in good conscience he can ask for Aaron Donald money.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me remove that. The highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL of all the peers that just got their new deal.
No, correct. I agree with that. Absolutely, because he also
before you were haggling because you didn't want to do it. Now you have absolutely no choice but to do it
because he gave you no choice. The guy and this is props to Christian Wilkins for
absolutely. He shut everybody up, and that includes me and you.
Yep. And by the way, don't put me on the crosshairs because I was not. And in fact, I'm the one who suggested that signing Tua to a contract extension next year probably would lower his cap number with some work from Brandon Shore, who again he's going to earn his salary in a couple of months.
Okay. Kevin says X only has 2 interceptions in 2 years. What happened? Also poop, but some respect on Baker's name. Put some respect on Baker's name. What'd you do with Baker? What'd you do? I know what you did. Earlier this week, you said that Duke Riley was just as good as Jerome Baker. Very little drop off.
I said, yeah, and I asked you put it at 80%. I put it at 90%. Kevin, you have an issue with the way Duke has played? Do you think there's been a major drop off in that position? And by all means, feel free to reply in the comments. Have you honestly seen a drop off in performance at that exact position?
Everybody plays well. They work in concert. Duke is a great communicator. No, put it back up. Put it back up. Put it back up. Because I don't think we've addressed the X question.
And it's also, hold on one last thing about Baker and Riley. Kevin, there's also a possibility that Baker also was a quicker starter in his NFL career, and then Duke maybe is a late bloomer, which explains why he started only 32 out of 105 games. But again, please answer my question. Honestly, have you noticed any kind of drop off in the play at that position from Baker to Duke? And then Omar, go ahead and let's tackle X.
I am actually going to be looking up. I need you to filibuster for a minute because I'm going to look up what Xavier Howard's opposition's passer rating is.
It's in the 70s. It used to be in the 70s. I don't know if it got up. What has happened? I don't think. Well, number one, I don't know that he's got that many targets against him, and they're playing zone, which is not as conducive to getting picks as playing man for a cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's one thing. He's also battled injuries the last 2 years. I mean, last year he played hurt the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got an effect on it. And with a combination of the injuries and he's getting a little bit older for a cornerback, maybe he's not, let's not.
How dare you?
Or poop. Well, he's not exactly played at quite the same level as he did in 20 and 2021. That's a fact. But it's not pure as simple. It's not as simple as, well, only 2 picks the last 2 years, so this play has dramatically dropped off. No, I don't think his play has dramatically dropped off. He wasn't great last year, but again, he was dealing with groin issues the whole year.
I'm so disappointed that I can't friggin' find.
Okay, you filibuster, and I'll find it for you. You want his passer rating against?
Yeah, pass rating against this season. I'm slipping.
Go ahead, talk to Kevin and.
Yeah, X is playing in a new scheme, and he's never played in the zone before. There's a growing process to it. X is learning how to play in the zone, which is going to make him more versatile on the market. So he's thankful for that. 2, he's not exactly getting a ton of targets. As you know, if you're basically playing the Miami Dolphins, you're attacking Kader Kohu. On some of the plays that he's gotten beat, there have been some PI situations, and it is what it is. DeAndre Hopkins has earned the right to push off. These are
or grab his arm and then drive.
Yeah. I mean, and the NFL, there's no, and cornerbacks know this. The NFL is a very biased game. They don't care about defensive players. This offense sells tickets and makes us a $16 billion business. Nobody cares about the defenders. They're basically the drapes in this backdrop of scenery. And X has got a thumb issue where he's basically wearing a brace during the week and doesn't play with it during the game. But these things happen. X is still a pretty damn good cornerback in my opinion, and probably one of the best ball hawks that I've ever seen in my career. I just don't think he's getting that many opportunities this year in this defense, but the cornerbacks are also part of the reason the Dolphins team with 2 games left to play has already set a franchise record for sacks. They have 52 on the season. They're second in the NFL only to the Baltimore Ravens. And a lot of that is because the cornerbacks are usually draped and quarterbacks are terrified to throw the ball. So they hold on to it too long. And then it allows guys like Sealer and Christian and Zach and Gink and Jalen Phillips to get after the quarterback. And they do this without blitzing. So kudos to them. So that addresses what's going on there.
Okay, so to answer your question, Omar, X's opponent passer rating when targeted is 80 on the nose.
Okay.
Which actually is pretty good.
Yes.
Last year was 101, which is not good. But again, he played last year. Even when he was selected to the Pro Bowl because of his name, he himself even actually, I asked him what he felt about it, and he told me he wasn't happy about it because he didn't feel like he had a Pro Bowl year. And if you want to know where that ranks, our good friends at Pro Football Reference list 270 defensive ends. Sorry, DBs with the opponent passer rating when targeted, and X stands at 59th. So, hell of a lot of players behind him. And by the way, interesting, the game on Sunday will feature the top two in that statistical category. Jalen Ramsey's first, 37.5, and second is Kyle Hamilton of the Ravens at 38.4.
That's not even fair because of safety. How often does a safety get just a one-on-one assignment? Come on, man.
Correct. And again, with everything with advanced stats, this is opponent passer rating allowed when targeted. Somebody has to decide that you're the guy who's targeted, which sometimes is very clear to see. Other times it's not as clear.
And very subjective.
Correct, which is why we take that as part of the evaluation process. And then to me, it's still, what do our eyes tell us?
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledgement to Kyle. Thank you very much, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. Right. What is this one? Riley is better than Baker. Cut him. Pay Wilkins. Duke. Okay.
Oh, Kevin's not going to be happy about that one. Kevin and Mateo have a chat or debate or talk or discussion.
I listen. They're going to make their decisions. They're going to do what they need to do in order to get the numbers right. I think Jerome knows his situation. They'll figure it out. Everybody will figure it out. Jerome has been a starter every year of his NFL career. Whether he's with the Dolphins or not, he's going to continue to be a starter every year of his career. Hopefully he comes back. Two players I saw in the locker room yesterday, and this is news for you. Guess who I saw in the locker room yesterday?
Isaiah Wynn.
Damn, did I tell you already?
Nope.
Oh, somebody tweeted it?
Educated guess.
Because I didn't tweet it out. I saved it just for you.
It's an educated guess on my part. How about that?
Yeah, Isaiah Wynn. I was like, damn, Isaiah Wynn. It's like seeing a ghost. And players in the locker room were like, yeah, bro, where you been? So Isaiah Wynn was there. You know, but Duke Riley was also there. Not Duke Riley. Jerome Baker's also there.
I saw him the other day and looked perfectly fine.
Yeah, he's they're both working their way back. I think that it's definite. I mean, could you imagine if Isaiah Wynn could actually come back to this team? I'm not even throwing that out there.
That means no Bake. So Kevin's going to be very unhappy with you.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. Okay, if we're gonna I know he didn't magically show up for no reason. You understand what I'm saying? So what's supposed he showed up to show him the rehab, the repair, the work I've done, the shape I'm in. I'm ready to come back. Let's suppose, hypothetically, that's why Isaiah Wynn was there. And then you're faced with this tough decision. Do we bring back Jerome or do we bring back Isaiah? Because you're damn sure to have a bigger need for Isaiah than you have for Jerome. Tough decision, right?
Again, all things being equal and both players completely clearing medical checks, you're good to go. You can come back the way you were. Yeah, I'm not so sure Isaiah Wynn wouldn't be more valuable at this point. Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, no, and that's what the thought came in my mind. Obviously, I didn't know that before I went in the locker room, so I didn't ask Mike McDaniel. But what if Isaiah Wynn is here to show them, yo, I'm ready? And you're faced with that decision of Jerome or Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
The way Duke is playing, I'm not even gonna lie. I was thinking to myself, like, because you are on fumes on that offensive line. You have no more backups.
No, you just got a lot of guys playing hurt too. Robert Booze or Boos. Thanks for the contribution. Fellow media thoughts. Who is the best NFL journalist? Who is the worst TV and or written? Love the show. Thanks. Cowherd sucks.
Cowherd doesn't suck because you're talking about him and you've talked about him all week. And he does this to every single market. And every single market, it's like, oh my God. People, I've said this on this podcast before. Sid Rosenberg was the one who taught me. I was having a tough week or something. I think that might have been the time when I said that on radio that Tom Brady was better than Dan Marino. And did that.
You said that in Miami?
Yes.
I'm sure that went over well.
Yes. It was a hornet's nest. And I statistically provided the evidence. It was a hornet's nest that lasted for quite a while. And I don't back down from that take. And even Dan Marino has said it. He said Tom Brady has had a better career than me.
Well, once you phrase it like that, is that the same thing as saying he's a better player though? The way Marino said it, like really dive into the statement. Okay. Of course, he had a better career. He won 7 Super Bowls.
Okay, we're not gonna dance. We're not gonna do this dance.
It's a lose-lose battle right there.
Yeah, it was absolutely. And Sid Rosenberg told me the best thing that you could do is the worst thing is to be irrelevant. The best thing you could do is stir it up or have haters, because you know what? Your haters listen twice as much as the people who absolutely love you. And I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah. And it's true.
I wouldn't know anything about having haters personally, so I'll have to take your word for it.
Why do you think we have 10,000 people watching our podcast every week? They're all not fans of yours.
It's not everybody who loves me.
Yeah, nah. Tuanon is that they're anxiously awaiting to hear what you have to say every day. They come here after a 300-yard performance from Tua, a fourth quarter win, and they're like, what is Poupard going to say?
No, it's more like, is this the day? Is this the day he finally admits his love for Tua? Is this the day?
Yeah. I will say the king, and I always say this, and anytime I see him, I bow down to him. The king of sports media is Peter King. There's a reason he's the king, and nobody touches him.
It's a very good choice. It's a very, very good choice. And yeah, written, yeah.
I've also, while he filibusters, while he makes his decision, and
there's so many. I need a list in front of me because I'm going to forget somebody.
I'm a big Dan Le Batard fan. We haven't seen the written word from Dan Le Batard in God knows how long. Maybe it's been a decade. But I grew up on Dan Le Batard. I think he's phenomenal at what he does, how he turns phrases. He's a genius. He's brilliant. I'm also a big fan of Ethan Skolnick's work when he was a writer. Ethan absolutely was able to turn a phrase that I admired. In my media contingent, in the immediate media contingent, I can honestly tell you, I wouldn't be here if I didn't like you, respect you, admire. I just sat here and said I cheated off you every year on your playoff permutations. Huh?
It's a joke.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Hal Habib. Excellent writer. Love Hal's questions. I love when he gets a hell from Tua. How ask questions just absolutely probes people. So that's who, and I've trained and groomed so many other young writers from Safid to David. So I'm a big fan of their work. I'm always on David about his grind, and I tell him, take no back seats to Joe Shad. I want you winning that Twitter war every single week.
Engagement, baby.
Engagement. So
can I chime in here? Let me chime in. A couple of thoughts. Completely agree with Le Batard. And to me, the thing with Le Batard that stands out, best interviewer I've seen in my years of watching sports journalism, bar none. I'm not sure there's a close second. He is a fabulous interviewer.
Jim Rome was good though.
Who?
Used to be Jim Rome. Interviewing.
Yeah, no. Sorry,
okay.
no. Since I like nuggets and informational tidbits and all that, and I've told you this before, I'm a big Barry guy. Him and I are like simpatico. I mean, we're interested in kind of the same stuff. The minutia, like the 15th guy on the practice squad, his background and what he did before in his career. And I like his question. He's very probing in terms of getting information. Major hat tip to Barry there. Hal Habib was a terrific writer. I like your former Sentinel colleague Dave Hyde, also a great writer as well.
How'd I forget Dave?
Nationally, and I'm with you, Omar. I don't think Colin Cowherd sucks at all. He's actually very engaging. The times I have issue with are guys who are not specifically NFL journalists who talk NFL without having the knowledge. Stephen A. Smith. I'm sorry. There are a lot of times, and there were a couple of years ago where he was talking about a Chiefs linebacker who had underperformed all year. This was like in November, December, and the guy had been on IR the entire season. And that, to me, like that completely lost me. Guys who have a take for having a take.
It's hard to have a take now.
Sorry?
It's hard to have a take now. I think.
No, but I'm correct. But I'm saying if you're not knowledgeable about the facts, you know who's very good also? Jason McCourty, former Dolphin DB, who's on Good Morning Football. Very, very good. I like him. What? No, the one thing I don't like about that show is when Kyle Brandt does his angry runs. Some of you guys might like it. To me, it's like I need a quiet room after he's done because like, dude, simmer down. I mean, lay off the coffee already.
It's angry runs. It's for the TV.
I understand that, but to me, it's like I actually turn off that segment. But folks,
I can't watch that show. So
but I don't want to rag on other journalists like that because we're all trying to do our best.
Absolutely.
Look at this scrolling. Marcus, our friend Marcus.
When you guys had your hoodies up, you both look like you finally joined Tuanon.
And shadowy. It's got to be shadowy too, right? Hold on, let me do it very shadowy.
Damn, I have to get my
and the catchphrase, expect us.
Oh yeah, we gotta both say expect us.
Yeah, hold on.
You gotta take Marcus down. Like
the what?
You gotta take Marcus's comment down.
Oh, okay, here we go. Hold on.
So they can see the fully look.
And then I gotta go. Expect us.
Expect us.
I have to have fun with it, right?
Oh, Tuanon is coming. This is their moment. They've been waiting for this.
Absolutely. And hopefully the dude delivers and they can have,
Absolutely. See, look.
But again,
Tua for MVP.
Okay.
They're within the grasp.
Gang for everybody. So it's kind of about the Miami Dolphins more than about one player, is it not?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
One player can win MVP.
Sorry?
But one player can win MVP.
Tyreek absolutely can win MVP. And yes, Tua. In fact, as I wrote today, yes, Tua. Take that down. Tua is in the mix as well. Absolutely. Again, Tyreek is in the mix as well. In fact,
Tyreek already told you he can't win before he got hurt.
You're gonna go there again because Tyreek said that the MVP is Tua. That goes. That's it. Everybody's gonna come on, man.
Mike, listen. You're right. I didn't say he's coming back on the 53.
Be careful also, there might be children on the show.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't believe in Santa. And I don't even teach my kids about Santa.
Okay. Carlos, thanks very much for the contribution. What's the story on Smith? We could have had Laporta. Yeah, Laporta would look good. But he wouldn't have the same numbers as he's having in Detroit. But the dude can play, and he was somebody that was mentioned as well. So Omar,
no story other than Vic Fangio doesn't trust Cam Smith. And Cam Smith practices against Tyreek Hill every single day and takes that Tyreek Hill butt whooping every single day.
And that's going to be the gauge to see whether
and hopefully it makes him a better player down the road.
Yeah.
Because good God. Yeah.
Well, Tyreek Hill's not exactly an easy assignment for a cornerback.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. No. Hey, hopefully it makes him a better player.
Oh, by the way, can I correct you, Carlos? I hate to do this to you, but no, the Dolphins could not have had Sam Laporta because Sam Laporta was picked 34th and the Dolphins didn't pick until 51, sorry.
What's the name of that tight end that from Georgia?
Darnell Washington, who was picked in the 3rd round by the Steelers.
Did he play?
He has played. I think he was completely lighting it up in camp, and I think has been very, very quiet in the season as I look at his numbers. So no, the Dolphins could not have had Sam Laporta unless they traded up.
Oh wow, he plays for the Steelers. He's played in.
Got 7 catches the whole year.
Yeah, interesting. Wow. Okay, 7 catches the whole year. How many offensive snaps? Let me look that up. Okay, he's played 427 offensive snaps.
Yeah, but I love how many? 16 times 6, 15 times. That's 800 snaps. How many has he played?
It's 400. He started 6 games. He's 427. He started 6 games this year. Wow. Okay. He's just not heavily targeted, but that guy looked like a mauler as a blocker. Goodness gracious.
Right. Yeah, he's like an extra offensive lineman almost. Ryan Laporta, you're related to Sam? No, it's not Laporta. Sorry. Thanks for the contribution. Omar has always put his personality out there on Twitter. I've enjoyed getting to know Poop's personality during these podcasts this year. Thanks, Ryan.
Is this true? Ravens won.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Saw that today. And
are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry. After that video I saw, how to me that's a disqualifier.
Oh,
automatically, I don't get that one at all.
Oh,
I mean, at all. And I don't know if they're getting any pushback because of it, but they should. Am I wrong?
I think that there's room for people to have growth in their life, and I don't know the work that Ray Rice has done within the last 10 decades, and I'd hate for my decision that I made 10 years ago to impact how people view me. So I'm going to not have an opinion about that, except for to say that they must really have confidence that this isn't going to blow up in their face. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, we have breaking news. Breaking news that I've just confirmed. Breaking news. Ding, 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 ding. Dolphins have elevated Melvin Ingram from the practice squad for the game tomorrow. It's the only move we have.
It's his final elevation.
Nope.
He's been elevated. This is his 3rd elevation.
Nope.
How many more has he got? Oh, they put him on the 53?
No, he's got one more elevation.
Really? Okay. If you say so. Hold on. Let me
look it up, dude. I'm serious.
Oh, okay. I trust you.
Yeah, I'm all about growth and all that, but to me, I'm sorry, that video I saw, that's not. Yeah, I can't. I have. And again, I'm not saying to chastise him and all that, but there's a difference between like honoring the guy, having a day, and like a tribute to the guy. I mean, I don't know.
Justin says your gut feeling on Kyle Hamilton plays tomorrow and Zay Flowers. Stakes with the biggest. This is a game with the biggest stakes in the season. They play. All of them play.
I think Kyle Hamilton plays, but maybe not every snap as he normally would. I like this one. Terrence, do you think Richmond Webb will ever get in the Hall? Do you think Fred Taylor gets in this year?
I don't think Fred Taylor gets in this year. I think he will eventually get in. Think about how what's the offensive lineman name that from Jacksonville that just got in?
Tony Baselli.
Look how long it took Tony Baselli. Jacksonville is just not that franchise that you have to really pay homage and respect to, but they deserve people in their Hall of Fame. I don't think Richmond Webb gets in. Maybe in the Legends.
And well, Bob Kuchenberg would get him before he would, I think. I find it a little bit, to me, where I'm pessimistic about Richmond's chances is the fact he wasn't even a semifinalist this year. I mean, forget finalist, he wasn't even a semifinalist. So
it happens.
Yep. What's the question here? Who won the first MVP with the Dolphins? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Have the Dolphins ever had an NFL MVP before?
Marino in 84. Bob Greasy was one. I don't know if he was NFL MVP or from one of the press agencies. In 1977, Earl Morrill won some kind of award like that in 72, but I don't know if he was the MVP. So, but definitely Dan Marino in 84. I don't know if he was the first or not. And this is one just for you, Omar, from Mob Rule. Josh Allen equals a trash can. Really?
Josh Allen's your daddy.
Really? I mean,
this one's just for you. Poupard, give Miami credit for anything. Impossible challenge. That's not fair. That's not true.
Tell me you're not paying attention or you haven't heard all the podcasts without telling me you're not paying attention or haven't heard all the podcasts. Maybe I don't give the credit that you want me to give every single time, but please don't come at me with that garbage, please. That's a trash can, right? That's a trash can comment, but okay.
Okay. Live film review of the O-line. We're not there yet. We're not at that point yet.
Yeah, and Mob Rule, you're doing a hell of a job of getting yourself ignored. So,
Kane's 9954. If he says, "Can we stop rehashing the same tired arguments?" People think we fabricate our arguments. They're legitimate beefs that we have with one another that don't end,
and they will never end until you admit I'm right. Sorry. Kyle, do you think McDaniel is being less conservative with injuries now that they're in quote-unquote elimination games?
No, because he's focused on playoffs and having guys available for the playoffs. I think you've rested Javon Holland for a month trying to get those knees right. You let him test it out now. If he suffers a setback, you shut him down. You don't play him against Buffalo, and you hope that he's healthy enough to play in the playoffs. But no, he's not gonna jeopardize anybody's health.
Guy can play, or he can't play. I mean, it's not. I don't think there's ever been a case of, oh yeah, he could play, but we're playing a team we should beat. Let's hold him out for. I don't think that it operates like that. I know another one from Noel here. This is a game where I believe you have to stop the run at all costs. I like our chances if Lamar has to beat us strictly with his arm. Good strength, but as accuracy issues at times.
Just don't let him run all over you.
Yeah, but that does that not apply that in every single game? And I would be careful about going overboard with this. Yes, the accuracy can be spotty every once in a while. He also, I think he's taken way too many shots about his work as a passer. Fifth locker room, Melvin Ingram's the only player elevated. Yep, we just confirmed that.
Thanks. So hold on, we're not elevating.
Mascara.
Interesting.
I got game New Jersey. Do you guys know what the rules are with respect to IR during the playoffs? I already addressed that. I will be glad to do it again. The limit of 8 players who can be designated to return, which is in effect in the regular season, continues in the playoffs. You do not get extra designations for the playoffs. So it's still 8. The Dolphins still have 1 move remaining, no matter how far they get into the playoffs. And it could be Jerome Baker, it could be Isaiah Wynn. I think we've stopped talking about Eric Azukama, which, and in fact,
I haven't thought of him in a month.
Yeah, I know. And then I saw his name on the injured reserve because I was looking at the roster yesterday or something, and it's like, man, talk about
I haven't even seen him in a while too. He used to be always in the locker room. Noel B points out that my trigger words are finesse, bubble screens, Bridgewater, and neck pain. I don't have a problem with Bridgewater. That's Poupard's trigger word, or actually what triggers Poupard.
No, that's Tuanon's trigger word. 2 a-non's 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 trigger word.
And bubble screens don't bother me. They work sometimes. But neck pain, yes. If you say neck pain, I'm gonna go like this because my neck. I've always had neck issues and shoulder issues. So,
Mateo, do you see Claypool getting many reps tomorrow?
No. And Pretty Boy says Debo Samuel's nickname is after Debo. He said that this year, and I'll take your word for it. I'm not doubting you. What Costa Nostra?
Richard, haven't heard from you in a while.
Hello, Richard.
Hello, Richard. Yes. How much of an impact has Coach Spo had on McDaniel?
McDaniel says it's been a tremendous impact. They talk coaching, they talk mindsets, they talk mantra, they talk personnel. They're buds now, huh?
Philosophy.
They are absolute buds now. So they bounce that's somebody he can confide in and go to when he's got an issue or a problem.
And they're both similar, like lower profile guys. We already had that one, Omar. Okay. Lower profile guys when they got their head coaching position, very smart guys and both very successful. JT, great content, guys. Respect the takes and the fact that you're both real and not homers. Ignore
some of these fools on here and keep after it. Thank you. Wes Welker could be our OC if hold on. What? Wes Welker could be our OC. Bernard says Wes Welker could be our OC if Frank Smith leaves. I think that's going to be your quarterback coach. Can't remember his name now.
Bevel.
Yeah, Bevel.
Yep. Yeah. That's an excellent call. Excellent call, Omar.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yep. Corso, thank you very much. Since we already have a playoff berth, why not send best players? Do we need the number one seed? And is it realistic at this point? Yes, and yes.
Yes, absolutely. The Dolphins' goal has been to have everybody come through to Hard Rock Stadium. You want to get to the Super Bowl? Come through us. And I'm pretty sure you guys realize why they're so confident about that. It's because they play a different style of ball at home than they do on the road.
Okay. I like these rule clarification questions. 6193 ASNF Omar Allen is a third emergency quarterback considered a practice squad QB. If so, can any team take him? No. In fact, the rule specifically states that the third emergency quarterback to be able to play has to be on the active roster. So Skylar Thompson's been on the 53 the entire year. If you're not in the 53, you cannot serve as the third emergency QB. That's part of the rules.
Everybody listen to JC Malone. Why did you just take that off?
Because it's funny.
Who says he clicked the like button, people. Thank you. Thank you for liking our work and our product. It helps us with the algorithm, helps us with advertising and drive more money to us, which we kind of like since that's how we support ourselves. Poop, you look like Kenny from South Park with the hoodie. Okay.
That's funny. I like that. I used to love that show. I haven't watched it in a while, but I used to love that show.
What's the game plan on beating the Ravens team? I would say
more points than they do.
Be physical. Don't turn the ball over.
Play at least to a draw at the line of scrimmage. How's that? Let your skill position players win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is Richard Keys. Joe Auer won the first MVP with the Dolphins in 1966. The way the question was phrased, I don't know if the person wanted the first Dolphin MVP or the first Dolphin to win NFL MVP. Yes, Joe Auer was the kid from Coral Gables who returned the opening kickoff in franchise history for a touchdown. Sean Brown, what three things must happen tomorrow for the Fins to win?
Don't turn the ball over, score touchdowns, protect Tua.
Okay, sold.
No, that's
what?
Okay. Mr. J says, I've been a Dolphins fan for 32 years. No, Ross doesn't want this more than I do. Don't say stupid SHIT, Omar. Are you absolutely kidding me? Do you realize what checks this man has written over the years? for this franchise and to improve the product and to win the offseason every year and to deliver the biggest trades. Come on, man. Like, seriously. He cares way more than you do. And
this is a guy who's had major success in the real estate world, and as an owner, not so much. And if you don't think that ego of his and pride in wanting to be able to say my team won a Super Bowl.
I remember one time I was asking him about, his disappointment and his struggles. I don't know what era this is. It was for a column I was doing, and I believe the column was basically this guy doesn't know how to hire people. Because that's really been his biggest issue. He doesn't know how to hire people and stays with people too long. And he said, listen, if this was any other realm of the world and business where there was no salary cap and I couldn't just go poach the best talent, like I would have done it. He's like, in my industry, you want Tom Brady, you just go get Tom Brady. And well, clearly he tried later on. This is years before he tried. He's like, in my industry, you want Tom Brady, you go get Tom Brady, and you can't do that in the NFL. So it's a challenge. It's a tremendous challenge. You got to play by their rules. And
what a baseball team.
Yep. What's that?
Matthew Lean, thank you very much. Love the show with a win and big performance on Sunday. Does that get Tua the MVP? And trust me, Omar is not bored by your question. Omar loves your question. To me, it's not as simple as this Sunday. It would need to play out if Tua has two big performances Sunday and against Buffalo and the Dolphins, clinch the number 1 seed. Then let's revisit it, see how Tyreek did in those 2 games. Because yes, to me, even though Omar is completely sideswiping the possibility of Tyreek winning MVP, I say it's a possibility. Let's come back for one of those 2 Dolphin players to win MVP. Get the number 1 seed. Let's see who plays how in those 2 games, and then let's revisit. But not just to win Sunday doesn't make it an automatic.
Okay.
Anything to add, Omar?
No, I was just reading the guy's comments who said I need to be a speech pathologist because I stutter a lot. Okay. Thanks.
Toby. What up, Toby? How's A. Schwartz been looking on the practice squad, bringing him up? Could feel speed voice of Waddle. Not sure if he plays special teams, though. Head nod to you both. Omar is not a fan. Omar is not a fan.
I don't like guys who Curtis Johnson, who is a very infamous University of Miami receiver. If you look up who he's coached throughout his career, he spent a long time with the New Orleans Saints as the receiver coach for Sean Payton. He used to have an infamous saying that I believe in, which is a receiver's number 1 job is to catch the ball. And he better have good hands if he's going to do that. Otherwise, he should be a cornerback. And if you can't catch the ball cleanly, you shouldn't be a receiver. Well, Anthony Schwartz should not be a receiver.
Okay, in the category of missing the point, William, them sucky Broncos beat the big bad Bills. They were not the same team they were in week 3. Missing the point.
All right. I don't want to hear
Matthew McConaughey agreeing with me here.
Um,
Whoa, ouch, that hurts. That hurts. Omar is eloquent next to Poupar and his ghoulish features. What are my ghoulish features?
I think you're a quite handsome man. So don't let them get to you. Troy, what is Brooks' status? Brooks plays and he plays special teams. He was activated last week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and as I warned many last week, I know there was a lot of fan talk of like, yeah, that's our short yardage guy. Come on, Brooks needs to get the ball.
No.
Yeah, they're not there with him.
No. They got a lot of things, and short yardage guys, Jeff Wilson, if they're going to actually do it.
Correct. Thank you, Marcus. Love your channel, guys. Happy New Year to you both. Happy New Year to you as well. And I know one way it could be a very happy New Year, actually.
I'm so puzzled why people would come here, and this is just like the total illustration of what social media is like. Why would you come here and watch the show for 90 minutes and be a total douchebag in the comment section.
I must have missed something.
Like, I don't get it, but
you'll have to tell me after we're done, because there's certainly no need to glorify it here.
Yeah.
Omar,
I'm sorry, my bad. Take it. Put yours up.
You can.
Dade County, Charles City. Respect. CC for life.
With Melvin Ingram, the only player elevated, does that mean Rob Hunt, Javon Holland, and Austin Jackson good to go?
Are we sure he's the only player elevated?
Yes. Yeah, literally just.
Dude, they sent out the release before they. Okay,
yes.
Damn.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know if I would make that conclusion, because they do have an awful lot of offensive linemen on the roster. And last week they elevated Ingram and Ethan Bonner, and Javon Holland didn't play, and Rob Hunt didn't play, and Austin Jackson was active but didn't play. So,
yeah.
Let's say it's possibly. I don't know that I would say that this means that.
Okay. Hide. Okay. Wow. I'm catching up on. Did you address all the starred comments? Because let's make sure we don't leave any.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Sean Brown again. Thanks, Sean. More pressure tomorrow. O line or D line?
O line always, baby. You agree?
No, I do agree. And part of it is, again, I have a lot with, to me, the Dolphin D line is, I mean,
they're the bullies. Yeah.
I mean, those two guys, I am like, wow. By the way, for those who complain and never give credit, Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, damn, have they been good. How's that for credit? Is that enough credit?
I was talking to Zach yesterday or this week about, because I generally like to tell people, especially the guys I like some of the accomplishments that they've achieved. And I told Zach that, hey, you guys have set a franchise record for sacks. And he's like, really? Word? And then I was like, yeah, and you got 2 more games to go. And he's like, yeah, we're don't tell, he's like, we're not done yet. And I was just like, that's my attitude. That's what I like to hear. And, he's like, see you in 2 weeks. And I was like, dope.
Mark, thanks for the contribution. Armando, did Ross get him excommunicated from that article? Me thinks, get him on your pod. First off, I don't know. No.
What are you talking about?
Armando Salguero, who I believe now lives in Orlando, writes for Outkick.com, and don't hold your breath on him appearing on our pod. What?
I didn't know. Okay. I'm just catching up to what this is about. Like,
go ahead.
No, did
Ross? I don't know what article you're talking about. I mean, he left, went from the Miami Herald he went straight from the Miami Herald to work for Outkick.com. And like I said, I believe he moved to Orlando. He's like national writer now. So, I don't know. We may have guests during the off season.
We have no idea. You guys decide what we do in the off season. Yeah, I have no idea what we'll do in the off season. They'll decide. I don't know.
Exactly, we'll do something. Ignore the idiots. Y'all are great. Okay.
With Melvin Ingram, the only player elevated, does it mean Rob Hunt, and Austin Jackson good to go? They're gonna go. They're gonna play.
Okay, Mark said it was about Flores, Tua, Ross, etc. Okay. Yeah, like I said, no, he did not get booted out of town or booted off the beat. That was.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but then I haven't read Armando in years. Right.
Okay.
Love the show, folks. We thank you for everybody who says that they love the show. We're hopefully we've addressed every single question, especially from the start. We've done
final right. What? I'm doing a final look through here as we sign off.
Yeah, we've done this show for 100 minutes, and we definitely appreciate everybody who joined, everybody who listened. Hopefully you'll be back after the game. We'll be here live right after the game. I've already got some columns up. Poupard's got some stories up. We will give you consistent breakdowns of your Miami Dolphins at alldolphins.com, which you can find right here. And we will see you immediately after the game later today. I will be on WQAM, not later today, later tomorrow, bringing in the new year as well. And I'll also be doing WQAM's pregame show tomorrow. So look forward to that. And Poupard,
the obligatory hat tip. Thanks, everyone.
All right. We'll see you later.